Hey, it's Yassenn again, bringing you part 2 of the distilling tutorial. This section will explain distilling strategy and how to perform the start and end of a puzzle. Mastering these concepts should get you to easy CC 6 or 7s. As we went over before, the objective of distilling is to get as many CC rows as possible into the keg, but if you go into the puzzle with this mindset and start setting up your CC rows right off the bat, you'll quickly notice that you run out of whites and that this method doesn't really allow you to get a very long CC chain. This is why the distilling strategy actually consists of sending all the blacks and browns over to be burnt while you hoard your whites against the left wall, attempting to get as many whites as possible on your board before you send up that first CC. Then any new whites that spawn are added on to the end of your chain. Now, onto the start of the puzzle. The start is taking a board that looks like this and making it look a bit more like this, with all the whites pushed up against the left wall. For this part of the video, I'll be using Datchin's Distilling Simulator. The link is down in the description. This simulator is a great tool for new distillers. Even though our goal is to get all the whites along the left wall, our mindset is actually focused on moving blacks and browns to the right. We are clicking on only blacks and browns and moving these blacks and browns into the white slots that need to be filled. The first step for this is identifying your rightmost whites and finding a black or brown that can easily be dragged into its slot. The movements we'll be using for now are dragging blacks down or browns up. On some boards, if you're smart about how you do this, you can actually complete the start of the puzzle using only these two movements. Much more commonly though, you'll find yourself in this kind of situation. This black is too low to be dragged into this white spot, so we must first pull it up with this brown before we can pull it down into the white slot. Of course, the same is true when you reverse it. If a brown is too high on the board, you can swap it down with the black to get it lower. A combination of these two movements is all you need to complete the start of the puzzle in most cases. One other situation that I will cover in this tutorial is getting stuck, since it seems to happen a lot to new distillers. As you can see on this board, I am stuck right now in this area. Nothing can move up or down like I'd want to. So there's two ways to get out of this. Basic idea is that you need to connect either the browns to the whites up here or the blacks to the whites down here. Now the first way I'm going to do it is I'm going to take this black up here and drag it down so that this row is finished, and then I can take a brown from up here and drag it down into this slot. And then I am able to drag these browns up and drag the rest of them as well, and then the blacks can drag down after that, and it's all good. Now, the other way you could do this, since I've just gotten it stuck again, is I could drag this brown in here so that this black can come up and open up the way for the blacks. Unfortunately, new distillers aren't fast enough to complete the start of the puzzle. Your board will probably look something like this when you're unable to fill in another row and have to send up your first CC. For this part of the puzzle, our mindset is going to flip. Whites are now the main pieces that we want to move, and blacks or browns are the slots that we want to fill in. The most important thing you need to know now is rows of blacks going up and rows of browns going down. Okay, I'll admit there's a bit more to it than that, but if you ever get stuck, refer to those two ideas to try to get you unstuck quickly. On this board, I just decided that I can no longer fill in another row and that my first CC will be going up soon. So, now I'm going to flip my mindset so that I'm moving whites, and The first thing I'm going to do is just try to get everything I can as far to the left as possible, which there's not really too much to move around on here. I could move some of the mid pieces around, but I don't really want to yet. I'll probably just make it worse. So now we're going to try to connect everything in the middle of the board. Let's see. If I move this here, and goes like that, that's pretty good. We have 2 whites to get out, and we're gonna use the rows of black up to the top to get this one, and rows of brown down to the bottom for that one. Now, this isn't quite evenly built, so I could even it out like that. So I have a full CC6 setup, and now I'm working on my 7th. How I like to do the end of the puzzle is a bit different from how most people do it, I think, but I think it's much simpler than any other method. All we're going to do is, instead of trying to do the rows of black to the top, rows of brown to the bottom, we're basically just going to have a bridge of blacks to the top, and all the browns are going to be below that. So you drag your whites up and then down, and it's pretty simple. To do this, we have to work on getting a row of blacks up to the top first. So I'm going to try to get a fully connected row of blacks up to the top. There's not quite enough space to do it here, but you can see a general outline of blacks going up and then browns on the inner side, so we could drag whites down through it. Alright, so there goes one burnt row, and I can already start by just dragging that white up and then down. Now, to build and maintain the bridge, you have to constantly keep dragging all the new browns you get over to the rest of the browns over here, so that the row of blacks stays just blacks and the browns stay on the inside. Again, just up and then down, up and then down, and then pull all these browns through. Same thing. Whites first. And then we're going to rebuild it so that the next row can come through as well. If you want to practice this, you can just go to the simulator and click on whiteboard and then burn, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 rows, maybe more if you're bad. And then you can go from here trying to get the bridge set up. Just a few tips before you go off and try to get your first CC 5, 6, or 7. First off, distilling takes a lot of practice. Don't be discouraged if you improve slowly or do well one board, then horribly the next. If you stick to it, you will improve. Next tip, always build evenly. At the start of the puzzle, focus on filling in one column before you place anything in the next. And at the end, always have a full CC set up before starting your next CC. Finally, don't use the simulator too much. It is a very useful tool for helping you figure things out, but practicing while you're timed and having to rush are also keys to improving.